Hi guys, my name is Dr. Barnum. I am going to walk you through the process of making your duffel bag kit. So, right down here we have the supplies that came with the duffel bag kit from Pineapple Appeal. You have a set of directions in your bag. You have your fabric, and you should have several pieces of fabric here. This is going to be the body of your bag, and these smaller pieces are going to be your pockets. You should have some paper that's a little bit tan colored. It is going to have your pattern on it. You should have two spools of thread, one that matches your bag color and one that matches your webbing color. And then your zipper. The directions also come with a little tag. This tag just tells you essentially the fiber content of your bag fabric, as well as how to care for your product. If you don't want to put this in your bag, you don't have to. It is not a requirement. The directions that came with this bag are not super great. So you're going to grab the directions that your teacher has prepared for you, and you're going to follow these directions. So this other set of directions and this tag, for the sake of this project, I'm going to throw the bag and this part away. We are going to start by kind of going over some of the basics of what we've got here. The general instructions just kind of go over this fabric is a cotton poly blend. You can wash it in your washing machine safely once it's made. Keep in mind that your webbing here is a synthetic fiber, which means that it's heat sensitive, so you don't usually want to iron those specifically. Put the heat of the iron directly on there, it will melt it, but it is okay to put in the dryer. We are going to be using a universal needle on our sewing machines. Remember, that's going to provide a stitch length of approximately 8 to 10 stitches per inch. That's going to give us a nice strong seam. We are going to be pinning to the pretty side of the fabric, and as you're looking at that fabric, it's sometimes kind of hard to tell the pretty side from the ugly side. The ugly side has a little bit of a diagonal weft to it, versus the pretty side of the fabric that you don't see that diagonal line. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we start laying out our pattern. Just some general tips here. We want to pin our seams before we stitch. Remember, we want to pin perpendicular to where we're stitching. We're going to be using a 5/8 inch seam allowance. The directions suggest to sew each seam twice for maximum strength. In the past, I've only sewn one seam and it seems to hold just fine. Backstitch when you start and stop. And then we are going to use a tracing wheel to transfer our lines. So we've got all of our supplies here. We're getting ready to start our pattern layout.